It's no secret too. You were pushed pretty quickly to the top early on in your career, which I can't imagine what
Yeah,
the pressure was like. But someone you got in there with was Chris Jericho. And I'm
yeah,
curious what that was like so early in your career being in there with, at the time, somebody already established, undisputed
yeah,
champion too, I think. What was it?
yeah. He was. That
Yeah.
was back when they linked both the belts,
Hmm.
and just happy that it was somebody like Jericho, because at the time I had no clue what I was doing. I
Yeah.
could follow and I could listen, but I wasn't ready to be wrestling a championship match by any stretch of the imagination. So everything that you see in that match is Chris,
Yeah.
and Chris making it look believable. When Taker and I were talking, we were talking about what made him and Sean so so good is just the believability.
Hmm.
You take Sean's not a big man,
No.
and Taker is a big man. So how do you make those two look believable? How do you make it look like Sean could be in a fight with him? That's a tough ask.
Yeah.
And they did it. And the same with the match I did with Chris. We had to make it look believable in some way, and that's all Chris. And then him putting the walls on, like, it hurt so bad. Like it was some of the worst pain I've been in my life. It hurt that bad.
That's interesting to hear. So the walls of Jericho,
Yeah.
I feel like that is the move that a lot of wrestling fans as kids will do the most, like a Boston Crab or something to
Oh
their
yeah.
end. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's a way to do it where you could sit and stop and you feel it, but it's more like a stretch.
Right.
Chris took it there and then took it a little bit further and then even sat back further. Just like I was the green, I was the rookie. And I know he did it because a few years later I worked him and it was the same finish, walls.
Yeah.
And I didn't say anything to him leading up to it because I didn't want him to put it in just to prove me wrong.
Right.
But after the match, I went up to him and I was like, I knew you put that first one on tight. And he laughed at me like, yeah, I did. But that's hey man, that's wrestling. If you
Right.
if you can't if you can't deal with that, wrong line of work for you.
Yeah.
Sell insurance, do something else.
Do you have any thoughts on what Chris is doing now in AEW? Like the constant reinventing of himself and still sticking
Just that,
around on top?
yeah, he's just anybody that wants a master class on how to reinvent themselves. Maybe he's been doing it since the '90s. Think about that.
Yeah.
He's been doing this since the '90s. That's just amazing that he can keep himself relevant for 30 years in the
Right.
business.
Yeah.
It's hard to do anything in life for 30 years besides breathe. Like it's tough.
Yeah. I
It's
bet.
not easy. And the fact that still be at the top of his game, because there's guys that go out and wrestle at that age, but they're not good.
Right.
You remember the end of Hogan's wrestling career. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
He wasn't like he didn't look like he was moving well, but
No,
he was still out there. Chris can still go.
he can.
That's just insane.
Yeah, it
Like
is.
if I went out and wrestled right now, it would look like shit.
I was
Like
gonna say, does that ever cross your mind to get in?
no,
No.
no,
Not enough.
not a bit.
Rewind, recap, relive. For over 50 episodes, the revolutionary force in wrestling interviews.